Alright guys, welcome to the channel, and today I'm going to be reviewing my daily driver, the Samsung Galaxy S8. I done had this phone for about 3 months now, and I paid $750 for the phone. I'm going to just talk about some of the things I like and I don't like about the phone, and I'll take a look around the phone and see what this is about. So, the phone is made out of glass, front and back, with metal in between. It's made out of Gorilla Glass 5. You got a microphone up top. And you got your power button on the side here. So right there is power button. Speaker. USB-C charging port. And a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. Which some phones are missing these days. That's huge. On this side we have the Bixby button. That's for the assistant. The Bixby assistant. And then we got a volume rocker up and down. So that's pretty much it for the sides and the top and bottom. In the front of the phone, got the speaker, got sensors across here, so your iris sensor and other sensors, so when you're picking up the phone and all that good stuff. And this is your virtual home button, because they removed the home button to thin out the bezels. Now if we go to the back of the phone, I got the fingerprint scanner, which used to be on the front last year's version. Now it's on the back. We got our 12 megapixel camera here. And then we got a heart rate sensor here with the flash. And then on the front of the phone, which I skipped to mention, is the selfie camera. It's 8 megapixels, so that's the selfie camera there. So that's pretty much it. And you got some branding here, Samsung and Galaxy S8. So overall, I feel like the design of this phone is nice. I like the design. It's one of the best designs on the market right now. The only thing I don't like about the design is that this phone feels kind of fragile, so I use a case just for for some protection, just in case I drop it. Because if you drop this phone on a hard surface, it's over. It's gonna most likely break because it's made out of glass. And I don't like the fingerprints on here, on the glass. It's a fingerprint magnet. And you can see smudges all over the place, and I don't really care for that. But those are the two things I don't like about the build and design. But overall, I like the design of it. It's pretty cool. This phone is sleek. It's more narrow now, and it's compact. For me, it's easy to use with one hand. I can reach across here, and then, you got to reach up just a little bit because this phone is taller now. This phone is taller than most phones. But the footprint of the phone is still small. And you'll see when I turn on the phone, and you'll see the display and stuff like that. But it's compact. One hand use is pretty good. This phone is IP68 dust and water resistant. So what that means is that you can get this phone wet, or if you're by sand or dirt, or it's resistant to that stuff. So I like it for the fact that if I'm washing the dishes or if I'm working with water or whatever the case may be, if I'm at the beach, I'm not too worried about this phone getting damaged by water. So the IP68 dust and water resistance, that's a great feature to have. I think all phones should have it. All phones should have that now. Because I didn't ruin a couple of phones with water damage. So, but I like that feature. I'm gonna talk about the display. Now this display here is a 5.8 inch Quad HD Super AMOLED Plus with a resolution of 2960 by 1440. With the PPI 570. Now you guys probably didn't watch a whole bunch of videos already, so you guys already know the specs and you already know what the screen is about. But it's 5.8 inches. The colors on here is very, very vibrant. The phone has great viewing angles, so in daylight you can see the phone out. If you're outside in the sun, you should be able to see the screen very well. I don't have to turn up my phone all the way, like the brightness. Let's see, right now I got it on low actually, but the screen is fantastic. It's probably the best screen on the market. Also, with this phone and the screen, as you can see, it's curved. It's slightly curved. So the screen is not flat. It's curved around the edges here. So that's a different design and look compared to most phones. Last year it was called the Galaxy S7 Edge. Now they just went with the Samsung, and all their phones, so their flagship phones has curves to the screen. And then with those curves you have features that come along with it. So what they call it the edge, or whatever they call it. But basically, what you do is you swipe along the edges, and you have your apps. So like right now, I have my apps. I have sports, my recent contacts or my favorite contacts, and then you have some options here, as you can see, some options here. And this is like, let's for an example, the GIF or the GIF, what they talk about. So basically, it can take a small 10-second clip of a video, and then you can save that, and then you can save that. You can send that clip to your friends or save it or whatever you do with it. Let me go on the options here, the menu button for the Edge panel. That's what they call it, the Edge panel. So, and let's see the other options that they got on here. So on the Edge panels here, let's see People Edge, Smart Select, Sports, Apps. We got the calculator, pictures, folders, stuff like that. So you can select from these options here to add to your Edge display. So when you swipe over, those apps, those options will appear. So, and like I said, for me, I just got Smart Select. So these are basically screen capture options that you can like take a picture of a circle or square and send it to your friends, or a GIF or GIF, or if you want to take a picture of something and pin it to the top of your screen, you can do that with these options here. So yeah, these are the options that I have, and that's what did I call it again? The Edge display, whatever they call it. And that's a nice little feature. And you can swipe from the right or left, and you do that in options. You select what side you want to swipe from, the right or the left. And then there's a little tab here. I don't know if you can see that there. There's a little tab here, and that's where you want to swipe from. And that's what brings up that display. And you can have that up here, down here. You can have it transparent where you can't see it, but you got to know where to swipe from, or you can, have it on this side as well. So that's a little option. That's a feature for the curved edges. But other than that, like I said, the display, the best display on the market. The only downside to having curves on a phone, or for this phone anyways, is if I'm typing something, the keyboard. Let me see if I can type something real quick without putting nobody on blast. So let's create a new. Let me see. All right. So for an example, I didn't want to show nobody information. Sometimes, okay, so like when I'm using this keyboard, or any keyboard on this phone for that matter, when I'm typing, some of the letters are on the edge of the phone, and sometimes that's a little irritating, because it's like, all right, or if it's a text like something that you got to touch right here, the curve can get in the way. But other than that, that's the only really issue I have. And sometimes too, like if you're watching something, there might be a glare on the edge. But the display is fantastic. Best one on the market in my opinion, and that's pretty much a fact. I'm gonna talk about some of the internals and the performance of this phone. So inside the phone, you got a Snapdragon 835 with the Adreno 540, 4 gigs of RAM. The performance on this phone, it's good to me. I don't have any issues with it. I might have a hiccup every now and then, or what some people call lag. I don't really think it's really lag. I call it a hiccup. Like if I'm doing something, I got multiple things going on with the phone, there may be an occasional stutter. But 95% of the time, I say 98% of the time, this phone is pretty fluid for me, fast. I can get in and out my apps, as you can see. Going through the phone, there's no hesitation. I can get in my apps real quick, no hesitations. The phone is fast. No issues for me with the performance. Now, is there faster phones out on the market? There's a couple phones that probably performs a little bit better than this phone. Maybe like the HTC 11 and the OnePlus 5 that they have out, and the iPhone is a pretty smooth phone. I don't really care for iPhones, but their performance on that phone is remarkable. So I give Apple credit for that. But talking about this phone here, I don't have any issues with the performance. The internals has all up-to-date specs. It performs very well. No problems with that. Some people just, Samsung has a history in the past to have performance issues, but I think that kind of stopped around like the Galaxy S6. 2-3 years ago, they started doing better on their performance. Also, with the performance with Samsung, they say, as time goes on, the phone starts to slow down. Now, I had last year's version I had the S7 Edge. I had it for a year. and I didn't see any performance issues. I actually had the Note 5 as well. I don't recall seeing any like slowdown or like the phone slowing down on me. And actually, my wife uses my old Note 5, and every now and then I might poke around on it, and it still performs pretty well. So I think Samsung has done a better job of improving the performance. And some of the performance issues come from what they call a touch screen, not touch screen, but TouchWiz. And now I think they changed the name. It's not TouchWiz anymore, but it's like the Samsung experience. So this phone runs Android, and then that's the operating system. And on top of that, which they call a skin, is called, which what people call a skin, and this is called the Samsung experience, which it used to be called TouchWiz. And it's Samsung's version of how they want the phone to run or how they want the phone to look. Now, what you could do is go to the App Store and download another launcher, and the launcher is basically the way the phone works or like operates. So, but pretty much as far as this skin, I do actually like the Samsung skin, the Samsung experience. I'm used to calling it TouchWiz, but it may be a little heavy, and it has a lot of features on it, so that's why I think it doesn't perform as well as some of the other phones, because it's packed with a lot more features than other phones, and that may have been the case in the past where TouchWiz, now Samsung Experience, it was packed with so many features and gimmicks, some people call it, that it would slow the phone down. But Samsung has done a better job with the performance. So like I said, for me, the performance is fine on this phone. Let's talk about some of the features. So now, I don't know if I talked about the fingerprint scanner, but on last year's version, the fingerprint scanner was on the front, but they had to get rid of the fingerprint scanner on the front to make the screen bigger. So, and this phone is actually small. It's more narrow and it's taller, but they got rid of most of the bezels. So let me just open that fingerprint scanner, open the screen up. So you can barely see it, but the bezels are here and here at the bottom. So you have a giant screen, but the phone itself is small. So this phone could fit right in the palm of my hand. And in order to achieve that, they had to get rid of that fingerprint scanner that was right here, and they put it on the back. Now, a lot of people didn't like that. They was like, oh, it's easier with the fingerprint scanner with your thumb doing this opposed to putting it in the back and next to the camera. And if they was going to put it in the back, they should have put the fingerprint scanner somewhere down here or in a better place. So to a lot of people, this is an awkward position. But for me, I really don't even mind it. It's not even that big of a deal, because I usually hold my phone like this anyways. So for me to open my fingerprint scanner, all I got to do is slide my finger open and open the phone. And the fingerprint scanner sensor works fast. Like I said, all I got to do is I usually hold my phone like this, and all I do is just put it right there. Piece of cake. Now, last year, I went from doing, went from doing this to this, now it's, this to this, I just got to slide my finger over. It was the same thing last year. Like, I just slide my finger down to open my phone up with the fingerprint sensor here, fingerprint scanner here. So I had to go down like this, but now I just got to go over like that. So it's not that big of a deal to me. Some people complain and say, oh, it's too hard to reach and I got to reach up. Look, man, if you like I said, most people hold their phone like this, and you might be different, I don't know. But if you just can't slide your finger over, then you're being lazy. But if you're lazy, then we have options, and that's where the iris sensor come in at. So if you don't want to use the fingerprint scanner, you could use the iris sensor. And basically what you want to do is tap on that home button right there, which will bring up the iris sensor. Now, that's that sensor right there. It lights up purple on camera, but in real life usage, you can't see that. And basically what it does is read your eyes, and it opens your phone using your eyes. So a good use of that would be if you had gloves on in the wintertime and you don't want to take your gloves off to get to the fingerprint sensor, you can use the iris sensor. Or if your hands are dirty and full of grime or whatever the case may be, and you don't want to use the fingerprint scanner, then you can use the iris sensor. And it's quick, it's secure. It's a great feature. It's a nice backup feature to the fingerprint scanner, or it can be your primary way of opening up your phone using a iris sensor if you don't want to use your fingerprint scanner. So that's a nice feature. And the only other phone that I know that has that feature is the Note 7 / Note Fan Edition. So that's the same thing, the Note 7. So that's a great feature to have. Also on this phone that I like is the Samsung Pay. It's similar to Apple Pay and Android Pay, but the only difference with this is that you can use this anywhere. I mean anywhere. Anywhere that you can swipe a debit or credit card, you can use Samsung Pay. Basically, once your phone is open, you use your PIN or your iris to have the phone use your debit or credit card that you got on file with Samsung Pay. So if you're at a store and you have to pay, when it's time for you to pay, pull up Samsung Pay and then just put it right next to the debit card machine or the credit card reader or whatever, and this phone will mimic debit or credit card. So that's pretty cool. I like that feature on there. This phone also has its own virtual assistant called Bixby, and that's this button on the side here. So I like Bixby in the beginning. Well, in the beginning, Bixby didn't have, it wasn't really useful. It was like Google Cards. It just had some cards that popped up on the screen and gave you some, sometimes useless information. Sometimes it's like a news feed. Basically, that's what it was. But now with Bixby, they did an update on it, and now you can use your voice. So what you want to do is hold the Bixby button. Well, matter of fact, let me turn my phone on. It's on airplane mode. I'll give you a demonstration on how Bixby works. So basically what Bixby does is you say, hello, Bixby, and you give it commands to turn on power saving mode, turn your screen brightness up or down, anything that you can do touching this phone, as far as, like with your fingers, you should be able to do with Bixby. And what I find useful about that is, say if there's a setting in the phone that you don't know how to get to, or you forgot how to get to it, or you're lazy, you can summon Bixby and have it do it. And it's also a cool feature. It's also a cool feature when you're having them phone battles or phone wars, and say, hey, look what my phone can do. So let's give it a shot. My phone should be active now. Bixby, turn on power saving mode. So what Bixby will do is go into the phone, go into the settings, go to the power saving mode, and then it'll turn it on or off. So, and as you can see, it's doing its thing. So if I didn't know where that setting was, because there's a lot of settings on this phone, you could tell Bixby to do that. Bixby, go to my camera app, and it'll turn on the camera for you. So in the beginning, I didn't really, a lot of people didn't care for Bixby, but now Bixby, it's coming along. I feel as more developers get on board with Bixby, it'll become better. You'll be able to summon an Uber just by saying, hey, Bixby, order me an Uber, and things like that. So as time goes on, I believe Bixby will get better, and I think more people will use it. So that's a nice little cool feature. Also on this phone, we got Secure Folder. Now with Secure Folder, you have to enter Secure Folder with your biometric, so either the fingerprint scanner or the iris sensor. And basically how this works is you can keep your stuff secure, all your information or anything you do in this folder will be secure. So if you're browsing the web and you're looking at some stuff that you don't want other people to see, if you're on social media, certain media sites that you don't want people to see, or people that's using your phone, I should say, certain emails, photos, video, stuff like that, whatever's in the secure folder stays in that secure folder. So if you got pictures and videos that you don't want nobody else to see, they won't be able to access it from the normal, phone settings or whatnot. So if you hand somebody your phone, they can't get into there and see that stuff what you've been doing. The only way they can get in there is if via iris sensor or fingerprint scanner, and that would be yours. So there's no way for them to get into that. So whatever you do in that folder stays secure, and you can transfer pictures and videos and stuff from the regular phone settings into secure folder. So if you want to hide something, you can put it in that secure folder. That's a great feature to have. Next is always on display. I like always on display because if you set your phone down, you can see the time, date, all that good stuff on your phone without having the actual phone like on. I mean, it's on, but you know, it's really off. It's just always on display. So that's a cool feature. Like I said, you can see all your notifications, see the time and date. And I remember I was in a meeting one day and everybody was on and off their phone, you know, kept going in their phones and stuff like that. And the host of his meeting was like, hey, can you you guys stop, you know, using your phones or stop checking your phones or something along those lines. And I remember a lady, she was like, oh, I was just seeing what time it was. And I had a little chuckle to myself because I don't have to turn on my phone to see what's kind of going on with it. You know, I can see the time or notifications and stuff like that. So I thought that was kind of funny. I almost was going to say something and you know, give her some stuff, but you know, I just left it alone. But and you can change the format of this. You know, you can have a calendar here. You can have pictures and whatever the case may be. You can change this up to change the look of it. So always on display is pretty cool. I think more phones should have this. I think the only two phones that have it is the Samsungs, and I believe LG is the only two phones companies out that have features on their phones like that. So next is the wireless and fast charging. So this phone has two options to charge your phone. You know, you got the regular wired charger. You know, you plug the USB-C in there, and it has fast charging, but you have to use the brick that came with the phone, the charger, the original charger. So the phone charges really fast, and the battery life on the phone is pretty good. I usually start my day around 6 a.m. 6 a.m. and I end my day at around 10, and I end my day about 30%. I usually have 30% battery at the end of the night, and I usually don't charge my phone overnight. So when I wake up in the morning, you know, I have probably like, you know, 25% battery from the previous day. So what I'll do is I'll plug in my phone. It has fast charge. I'll, you know, take a shower, you know, get dressed, eat breakfast, all that good stuff in the morning, right before I go to work. And right before I leave out, I'll just unplug the phone. And usually I'm close to about, you know, 95 to 100%. And then I go on with my day. And the battery's pretty good. So fast charging, it works real good. Or if, you know, if I get off work and I plan on going out for that night, and, you know, I need to recharge, you know, I plug my phone in for like 20 minutes, come home and charge it up, you know, change clothes or whatever case may be. By the time I'm done with that, I head back out. I'm pretty much close to 100%. And then this phone has fast charge, like I said, wireless charging and fast wireless charging. So that's options if you don't like plugging your phone in. This phone has the ability to be charged wirelessly. So you set your phone on a dock like this, and it'll charge. And it'll charge fast. Now, from 0 to 100, it'll take probably about 2 hours to charge on the fast wireless charger. But it's nice to have that option because if you have a desk and, you know, you're at work, you can just throw your phone down on the dock, and, you know, you can see what's going on. It looks pretty cool, and it's a nice option to have. And then, you know, you can just pick up and go, and you don't have to unplug and plug. You just set your phone down, or if you have the old school flat one, you know, just set it flat down like that and it start charging. So I like having that. Some people think that's a gimmick, or they don't, oh, I don't need wireless charging, which is fine, but it's a nice option to have. I'd rather have the option to use it just in case, you know, I might be at a coffee shop that has that, and I can just set my phone down if I don't have my charger. So that's a nice little feature to have. Next, the SD card slot. So some people have issues with their storage on their phone, where they use up all their storage and then they have to delete apps and all that other stuff, delete pictures and stuff. And that's where the SD card slot comes into play, where if your phone becomes full with pictures and videos, you can just transfer that over to your SD card, pop that out, pop a new SD card in, and you're good to go. You don't have to use cloud storage or anything like that. So you have expandable memory on there, so you're not forced to delete pictures and apps and stuff like that. You can expand your memory and be good to go. So that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about with this phone. Like I said, the design of the phone is beautiful. It's sleek, compact, easy to use, one-handed, IP68 dust and water resistant. The display on here is remarkable, the best on the market. The performance, the phone works great. Not too many issues, maybe a hiccup every now and then. The cameras on here, I didn't talk about the cameras. The cameras shoot great videos, take great shots. the cameras on here, I can't talk enough about the cameras. They're probably top 3 on the market right now, maybe top 5. I would say top 3. It doesn't have a dual camera setup. Like I said, this is the 12 megapixel camera, the 8 megapixel camera in the front. Take great selfies. I'm not a big selfie taker, but when I do take pictures, no complaints. They're sharp. The colors are vibrant for both cameras in the front and the back. The videos, I shoot a lot of my YouTube videos with this phone. The cameras are great. You won't be disappointed. The colors are very vibrant. If you don't like vibrant colors, then maybe you may not like this camera. But then this camera does have plenty of features, as far as the Pro mode and panoramic and all that other stuff. Somebody's calling. Pro mode camera. What was I talking about? Got distracted by the phone call. But the camera has plenty of features. Let's just go take a look real quick. I'm gonna open this up. So the camera has Pro mode, panoramic, what they call it, Snapchat filters, all that stuff. Hyperlapse, slow motion, select the focus. That's for bokeh effect, where your subject is sharp or solid and the background is blurry, bokeh effect. So, and then you can download a lot of other options, or a lot of options for the camera and settings. So the camera, like I said, top 3, great video, great pictures. No complaints there. Love the camera. You won't be disappointed with the camera. So that's pretty much it. The only thing I don't like about this, which I probably already said, or if I haven't said, is that this phone is fragile because it's made out of glass, front and back Gorilla Glass on the front and back. So the phone is kind of fragile, but use a case, you'll be fine. I think 95% of people who use phones, have cell phone, use the cases anyways. You can catch a case that you can still showcase the beauty of the phone and give you some protection, but the phone is fragile, so if you drop this on a hard surface, it's going to break, most likely. And then the fingerprints. I don't like the fingerprints on here. There's a fingerprint magnet. I have to, constantly wipe it down with a micro fiber cleaning cloth. You can wipe it down, and 10 seconds later, it's right back to where it's at. So it's right back full of fingerprints. But those are the only really 2 complaints I got. Is it's a fingerprint magnet and it's kind of fragile. And then every now and then, it's not that big of a deal, but I might have a hiccup every now and then. But overall, I paid $750 for this phone. If I had to do it again, I would. I don't regret buying this phone. I say it's one of the best phones on the market. So no complaints. Love the phone. So that's pretty much it for my review on the phone. Like I said, I had it for 3 months, and yeah, I don't have the urge to go buy another phone. This phone is good for me. Works fantastic. So I got some other stuff I gotta review. Got some headphones, some speakers, stuff like that I gotta do videos on and toss them up on YouTube. So I got some other reviews to do. But if you have any comments, concerns, or questions, or just anything you want to add on to this video, drop a comment in the comment section, and let me know. But other than that, that's pretty much it. So that's it for the video. I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.